Marcus slid the key into the heavy bank lock securing the property's door. Realty assessments were grim work these days. Some nights, he felt like a mortician. But this was his last job for the week. One more assessment, then he could relax all weekend without worrying about squatters, leaky pipes, or stolen copper wiring. He skimmed the paperwork on his phone, pleased to have plenty of time to finish and submit it. Tonight's unlucky property was a closed-down salon. The story was familiar. The owner borrowed heavily when the market was booming, built it up, but when the economy crashed, revenue vanished, she skipped town, and now Marcus had to close the chapter. It was a nice place compared to others he'd seen. When open, it likely catered to a high-end clientele. Even in its decline, it was in good shape, no exposed wiring, break-ins, infestations, cracked windows, or holes. He'd witnessed many owners trash their foreclosed properties out of spite. This place was barely dusty. Marcus walked through the main rooms, noting leftover equipment, dryers, chairs, cabinets stocked with creams, shampoos, rinses, and other beauty products he barely recognized. He stuck to cheap, store-brand shampoo himself. The salon had potential if a new owner stepped in. The location was a bit off the beaten path, but the shop was charming, spacious yet cozy, with a studio upstairs that doubled as an apartment. The commute couldn't be better. It was still furnished, which made it easier to show or donate everything to charity, making everyone feel good. Marcus made some final notes, then headed downstairs for one last check of the storage room before calling it a day. The back of the shop was pitch black, away from the front windows and moonlight. Marcus groped the walls, searching for shutters or blinds to open, but the room was sealed off. He turned to leave but saw only darkness. Grumbling about getting lost in a storage room, he guessed he'd taken a wrong turn or the door had closed on its own. He closed his notes on his phone and switched on the flashlight app. The room lit dimly. Just then, his phone blinked a low battery warning, and moments later, it died, plunging him back into darkness. He swore he had charged it that morning. In the dark, Marcus stepped on a metal canister, which slipped and skidded away. He stumbled forward, grabbing for support, crashing into a stack of boxes. His fall was softened by a pile of junk. Groaning, he heard movement nearby, a box thudded next to his shoulder, then something struck his head, forcing it into the floor. Colors flashed before his eyes despite the darkness. Metal objects and canisters clattered and rolled away. One canister hit the floor with a crack, releasing a high-pitched hiss of gas. It spun wildly, propelled by the escaping pressure, blasting Marcus's face. Bitter chemicals stung his mouth and throat briefly, making him gag and his head swim. Consciousness returned slowly. The ringing eased, and he clicked his tongue to clear the acrid taste. His vision was black, hopefully just from the dark room, not from my injury. The thought of a concussion hit him hard. How long had he been out? Was he supposed to sleep it off? Or was that a bad idea? Confused, he patted his head but felt something soft and plastic. He realized a plastic sheet or cap covered him. He tugged, but it stuck. Running his fingers along the edge, he found a sticky residue drying there. He steadied himself, either some product from the boxes or blood. He wasn't feeling faint, so probably the former. Feeling further, he discovered streaks of the sticky substance on his face and the floor. If it were blood, he wouldn't still be alive. He shook off the thought and pushed up onto his elbows. The assessor shoved the junk and boxes off himself, feeling a sudden chill now that he was exposed. His skin pressed against the cold storeroom floor, sticky with dried goo. As he moved, something brushed his leg, sending a shiver up his spine. He exhaled sharply, convincing himself it was just debris shifting, but then he felt it again, firmer this time, like a soft grasp. Panicking, Marcus flailed and kicked, backing away from the pile. Could it be an infestation? Bugs, or worse, rats. If rodents carried anything contagious onto him, he'd condemn this place for good, no matter the value. Feeling his way to the wall, Marcus steadied himself and cautiously shuffled around the room, keeping one hand on the wall and sliding his feet to avoid falling again. Something was wrapped around his arm, but escaping this dark room and its imagined pests was his priority. His fingers found a cold metal bump, then a wooden edge. Relief flooded him when he located the door handle, and he slammed the surface hard, forcing it open. Moonlight stung his eyes as he stepped into the hall, slamming the door behind him. Something slipped from his arm, and in his returning vision, he spotted a goo-covered scrap of his shirt fall to the floor. No wonder he'd felt so cold, the chemicals in those boxes had eaten through his clothing. A fleeting thought about claiming hazard pay for chemical burns crossed his mind. As he shook off the worst of the sticky rags, the tug on his arm came again, followed by a pull across his chest. There was some kind of fabric wrapped around him. No, a bra? Marcus yanked at it, but it snapped back around his shoulder. He grabbed the straps but questioned his own sanity as he swore he saw it crawl up his arm and settle on his shoulder. A soft brush along his back made him scramble for the rogue garment, but as he fumbled, the clasp fastened itself shut. The idea it was stuck from dried goo grew harder to believe when he glanced down and noticed a matching silk shimmer at his waist beneath the torn remnants of his pants. His mind screamed it was time to leave this run-down shop. Marcus strode straight for the front door, arm outstretched for the handle, leaning in with his shoulder, only to collide with the glass, banging his head. He stumbled back, spotting the lock and key lying on the shop floor. He pressed against the door again, but it was stuck tight. Frustrated, he pounded on the glass, hoping for a passing motorist or a coworker sent out after he failed to check in. But the assessment wasn't due until Monday. Nobody would raise an eyebrow about a late Friday report. He pressed harder, pounding relentlessly. A shiver crept up his spine once more as the bra straps pressed uncomfortably against his skin. Pressure built, discomfort growing until suddenly his chest swelled, forcing him away from the door. It felt almost like relief, not being pressed against the glass, like the pressure inside was free to push outward. The transformation happened so fast Marcus couldn't process it. The bra cups latched onto him, rising and filling out with each breath. He stared down in shock, stepping back, trying desperately to retreat from what was happening. Leaning back in horror, he bumped the metal footrest of a salon chair, lost his balance, and collapsed onto the cushioned seat. As soon as he touched the chair, he grunted, shuddering as the pressure and release he'd felt in his chest rippled through his hips, thighs, and backside. He tried to jump up but jolted backward, stuck tight, wedged in the seat and pressed against the padded sides. The lingering chemical smells caused his face to tingle, warmth building beneath the cap on his head. Despite everything, Marcus wasn't in pain. The sense might have even been soothing, if he weren't trapped, alone, and overtaken by unseen forces. Trying to free himself, Marcus pushed on the armrests as hard as he could, but they held firm. He stamped his feet for leverage, only to find plastic wrapping around his ankles instead of solid floor beneath. Glancing down past his swollen chest, he saw white heels bending his feet downward while straps wound tightly around him. He kicked hard, but the shoes clung firmly, locking his feet in place. The struggle took a heavy toll on Marcus's body, leaving him weak and woozy. He wasn't ready to surrender, but panic was giving way to defeat. The chair spun him toward the mirror, the building seeming to mock him. Staring back was the face of a woman, jaw slack, eyes inviting, lips pouty. Her bust pushed boldly from the shredded remains of his work shirt, and that plastic cap over his head seemed to pulse. The thin layer stretched until it burst open like popcorn, bits fluttering down. Sitting atop his head was a perfectly styled bouffant that wobbled as he leaned in. Unable to bear it, Marcus fought the chair, tugging and pulling to escape. Suddenly, he slipped and was practically ejected, stumbling forward, weighted down by the curves and the wig. He steadied himself against the wall and scanned the room. The front door was sealed tight, the storage room exit was a no-go. Maybe a window? Almost as if responding, pressure built in his chest again, the bra tightening with every curve. He hugged himself, trying to hold back more changes, then dashed for the stairs. His heels clicked sharply on the wooden steps as he ran through the abandoned shop. He slammed into the apartment door, forcing it open and slipping inside, quickly shutting it behind him, hoping to block the sinister forces downstairs. Bright light blinded him, the electricity should have been off since the bank shut it down when payments stopped. Dizzy and confused, Marcus wandered through the space. Exhaustion hit hard, his muscles ached. A sweet perfume filled his lungs and quickly became overwhelming. He shuffled to the bed and collapsed, needing rest to calm down and plan his next move. Trying to sit up, sleep took him over again. Marcus jolted awake, memories flooding back. He was wrapped in silk sheets. Kicking them off, he stepped back and came face to face with a floor-length mirror. The woman from the night before stared back, hair perfectly styled, makeup subtle yet flawless. Gone were his torn clothes. Instead, he wore a low-cut top showing off his cleavage and tight midriff. His curves were hugged by snug capri pants ending just below the knees. Even his feet still bore heels. Exploring the now bright, spotless apartment, he passed a table in the hallway where a tablet blinked with a message. Hope sparked, maybe he could contact the outside world. But then doubts crept in. How did the tablet get there? Was someone else here? Did they know he was trapped? He tapped the icon, and a cheerful recorded voice played. Welcome to Salon DS. We're excited to have you join our team. The shop opens daily at 10. The admin office handles orders and shipments. Keep styling, and we'll take care of the rest. Marcus's mind reeled as instructions followed on opening and closing procedures, shop processes, and inventory. The upbeat voice thanked him again and signed off. Desperately, he searched for a reply button or a way to reach a human, but the screen was blank except for a replay icon. No way out. Suddenly, footsteps and a doorbell snapped him from his daze. A thud and sliding boxes sounded downstairs. Marcus rushed to the door, wobbling down the stairs, barely keeping his balance. In the brightly lit, spotless lobby, a place that looked ready for business with soft lights, a gurgling fountain, and gentle music, he saw a fresh crate of supplies. A truck's engine sputtered outside, and Marcus yanked at the door handle. It didn't budge. He pounded on the glass, shouting to the delivery driver, but the man only saw a waving woman inside and gave a friendly goodbye as the truck pulled away. Marcus sank to the floor, feeling utterly defeated. After a moment to gather himself, he approached the box and pried it open. Inside were neatly packed smaller boxes filled with fresh supplies and cosmetics, ordinary enough, giving no hint of the ghostly forces stripping away his manhood and trapping him in this cursed salon. The message had promised that if he kept the shop running, things would be okay. It was the only lead he had, the only hope left. So, Marcus began unpacking and organizing the supplies. As he arranged the last shelf of conditioners, the door jingled and swung open. A woman in a pale pink business suit sauntered in, glanced around, hung up her purse, and walked over to Marcus for a hug. He stood frozen, stunned, as she released him and settled into a chair. Darling, I'm so glad to see you're still open. Honestly, I wasn't sure you'd be around. She leaned back, loosened her ponytail, shook out her hair, and flipped through a magazine. Marcus stared at the back of her head, overwhelmed and confused. Her idle chatter barely registered as his mind raced for a way out. Just as he opened his mouth to offer an excuse about closing or the stylist being away, a throbbing pulse hit his head. Moments later, a strange calm settled over him, and a vague certainty took hold. He somehow knew what to do. It was as if this body or the salon itself demanded he step into the role laid before him. Marcus steadied himself and mentally checked out, letting his newfound instincts guide him as he clipped, curled, primped, and styled the woman. When he snapped back to reality, she was done, putting down her magazine, patting her freshly styled waves, admiring herself in the mirror, and rising to give Marcus another hug with a promise to return soon. As she grabbed her purse and left, Marcus reflected on the madness of it all. How did he know how to do all that? Why did he? He pressed his palms to his head, panicking. Would this sudden flood of training erase everything else? Would his lifetime of knowledge be replaced by a beauty school diploma? He had to escape before he found out. He rushed to the door, pulling with all his strength, but it wouldn't budge. He pounded the glass in resignation. Work was the only way out, and he'd have to play along with this twisted game. The rest of the day passed in a blur of customers as Marcus let his autopilot take control. He moved effortlessly through cuts, perms, styles, and color treatments. When evening came and the last customer left, the register powered down, signaling freedom for the night. Reflecting on the day, Marcus felt equal parts amazed and embarrassed. It had been a crash course in adjusting to his new body, bumping into people with his chest and hips, unaware of how his curves occupied space. He'd bend over to pick up change without a second thought until muffled chuckles from customers reminded him of his exposed rear. From then on, he bent at the knees. After tidying up and documenting supplies that needed restocking, Marcus made one last attempt to open the door, sighed, locked up, and headed upstairs to what he assumed was now his apartment. Passing the hallway table, he noticed the tablet blinking with a new message. Cautiously, he tapped it and heard the cheerful voice of the mysterious caller. "Congratulations on your first day, stylist. We're sure you did wonderfully and will improve with practice. We believe in work-life balance, so our shops close early to let you enjoy your evenings. Rest well and look forward to exciting days ahead. If you ever feel overwhelmed, please signal us, and a representative will help you get an assistant." Marcus recoiled at the dark undertones beneath the upbeat message. Did they want to use him to recruit others? He shook his head fiercely, the motion making his updo and chest bounce. He would keep his humanity and cling to whatever dignity he could. Searching the apartment revealed no escape or way to signal for help. His phone remained dead, and the company tablet offered no contact options. Defeated, Marcus retreated to the bedroom to prepare for the night. His feet suddenly felt odd. Looking down, he saw the straps on his heels undone. He slipped them off quickly but noted how natural it felt. After wearing heels all day for the first time, standing flat felt strange. He shook the feeling away, refusing to accept this new normal. He rummaged through the dresser, unsurprised to find stacks of skimpy lingerie and revealing clothing. Selecting the least provocative piece, a silk nightie with a tiny bow at the cleavage, he slipped out of his day's outfit and into it, then tried to get comfortable in bed. Sunday unfolded much like his first day, but now Marcus moved more smoothly through the morning crowd. He feigned interest in the customers' endless gossip and did his best to avoid drawing attention from those sneaking glances at his curves. Around midday, the waiting area cleared, and two women arrived together. They lingered near the entrance, surveying the shop and blatantly focusing on Marcus's figure. "Can I help you?" he asked. The redhead smiled and stepped forward. "Just here for an appointment. My partner will wait." Marcus gestured for the redhead to sit while eyeing the blonde. "That's a lot of hair just to sit around." The blonde shot him a glare before plopping down and burying her face in a magazine. The redhead continued to examine the shop and its products. "So, tell me about the salon. And yourself." Marcus spun a tale about taking over the shop from the previous owner who'd gone on vacation. It seemed to ease the redhead's suspicions, though she appeared to ponder it longer than the others. She made him nervous, so he got to work, undoing her pigtails and brushing out her beautiful hair. Since she hadn't requested a cut or style, he carefully conditioned her hair and smoothed stray strands. As he spritzed her locks with products, the woman relaxed, nodding politely at his suggestions and guiding him toward the salon dryer. Settling in with a smile, Marcus noticed something. She looked rounder than before. Her jeans fit tighter, her sweater stretched more. He hadn't meant to. Was it the salon? "What are you doing?" The blonde snapped suddenly, standing behind him, furious. It's just the dryer." "She's..." The blonde glared at him like he was clueless, grabbing her partner's arm. "Lily! Wake up! You're..." The redhead waved her off. "Laura, relax. I'm fine." Laura yanked the dryer off and pushed Marcus aside. "Your chest, you idiot. It feels great. Let me be." Laura spun toward Marcus, raising her fist. "If you don't get her out of there right now, I'm shutting this nightmare down." Marcus backed away. "I didn't do it." It's this place, I can't. Sure, which? Laura stepped forward and grabbed his shoulder. He winced and raised his hands, but no blow came. Well, she demanded. Well, what? He asked, confused. Laura loosened her grip. Usually you fight back here, stop us from interfering. Marcus stared, scared. Laura softened, embarrassed by her outburst. Why don't you just explain what's happening? Marcus recounted everything, the assessment, the chemical assault in the storage room, the forced transformations, the strange messages, the customers, and the assistant offer. Laura listened silently, unshaken by his frantic tale, simply assessing the situation. When he finished, she placed a hand on his shoulder and asked to see the storage room. At the back, Marcus hid by the doorway as Laura rummaged through boxes, inspecting products and holding them up to her clunky green watch. She tossed a shampoo bottle carelessly onto the floor. No strong chemical traces. No evil science here. I'm not making this up. I swear. Laura stepped closer. Hey, no one's doubting you. We just need to look somewhere else. They searched the upstairs apartment but found nothing unusual. Laura understood Marcus's frustration over the skimpy outfits ill-suited for his figure, but nothing seemed sinister. She examined the tablet, which was oddly unremarkable, no screws, no ports. Frustrated, Laura slapped it against her leg. Lily's usually the one who finds these things. Wait, where is she? Laura dashed down the stairs, Marcus following more slowly. In the shop, Lily was blowing kisses at her reflection, giggling. She paused to apply gloss to her full lips before puckering up again. Laura frowned, worried about what the salon was doing to her friend, then poked at the tablet. The welcome message began playing, and Laura's watch beeped. Is it picking up a signal? Marcus shrugged. I couldn't find a way to call out. And my phone passed when I got here. You mentioned a second message popped up after you started here, so it has to be receiving something too. Laura fiddled with her watch, replaying the messages repeatedly. Finally, she stopped and pumped her fists. Got it. We can trace the signal back to its source. She glanced at her partner, who was now engrossed in comparing shades of eyeshadow like it was the most important choice ever. Can you keep an eye on her? Make sure she doesn't drink anything strange, spill chemicals on herself, or flirt with anyone while I check this out. Marcus nodded. Laura tapped her watch, and a glowing green doorway appeared before them. She stepped through, and it vanished behind her. Lily smiled from the side. That was pretty. Laura and the door reappeared in a dark, empty room. She moved cautiously and soon found herself inside a large cosmetics store, completely unmanned, lit only by a skylight. Glass cases displayed various beauty products, but the showroom was otherwise empty. She moved silently through the building. Closets held boxes matching the displayed cosmetics but no other supplies. In a back room, her device beeped. On a desk sat a small black laptop. She powered it on and saw the same two messages sent to Marcus. Excited, Laura examined the machine but found no ports and the keyboard was unresponsive. Her device confirmed the signal originated from this laptop. With no way to interact further, Laura did the logical thing. She hurled the laptop against the concrete wall, smashing it to pieces. Her device showed the signal had stopped broadcasting, but the building gave no sign of change. Laura silently moved through once more, no alarms, no armed beautician squads attacking. Satisfied the signal was gone and glad to vent her frustration, she activated her device and stepped through the green door again. Back at the salon, Laura found a gleeful Marcus outside. He ran up and hugged her tightly. The doors! They opened right before you got back. Lily? Is she? Laura dashed inside and found her friend slumped in a chair, clutching her head and groaning. Ruth. I feel like super hungover. And not in a good way. Laura patted Lily on the back, helping her up. You had me worried. The drag queen look doesn't suit you. What are you? Lily spun toward the mirror, jaw dropping. What happened to me? She began scrubbing her makeup furiously, to little effect. Probably going to take a while for that goop to wear off. Laura gave her another reassuring pat and headed back outside to Marcus. He leaned against the building, clutching his chest. I think they're getting smaller. Laura raised an eyebrow skeptically. You're probably going to need some time too. We'll see if we can speed it up. At least we can get you some pants or shave your head. Lily shuffled out, moaning and grumbling. She gave her temporary coworker a commiserating nod. Laura chuckled and motioned inside. Let's close up and get you cleaned up. Hey, it'll be like another makeover. Marcus and Lily shot her glares. Meanwhile, in the abandoned cosmetics store, the shattered laptop sparked one last time as its energy drained away. Deep in the facility, a server hummed to life and a solitary red light blinked quietly in the dark. Around the room, laptops nestled in their docks woke up and began broadcasting their employment notifications. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.